to this episode of Faith Infused Leadership. I am your co-host, Mire, here with our host, Debbie Heiser from Three Vines Consulting, and we are thrilled today to have two amazing guests joining us on the show. We've got Mire and Allie Janszen, who are the co-founders of Simplified CEO. So welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And we're diving into the topic of leadership today. And really, I think Debbie invited you on the show today because both of you have such amazing value to add when it comes to leadership. So Debbie, do you want to kick off the conversation with Allie and Jenny?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for being with us. And I think as we go through this, I'll probably ask a question and then maybe ask one of you to respond and then the other can respond. With four of us on the phone, it might get a little crazy as we do this. And so I would just start out and ask, what prompted you to look at Simplified CEO? Why is that a passion of yours? And Jenny, I'm going to ask you to start, and then Allie, I'll have you follow up.
I was going to say Allie could start that one. I would say what prompted us to start Simplified CEO was seeing the need in the marketplace, and just hearing the pain points of women like us and men, essentially, like us, that are kind of a season behind where we were. And we wanted to join forces and really just give these other entrepreneurs, other business owners, what took us a long time to learn ourselves. So kind of opening that door and making it simple for them.
Yep, I agree.
Simplified CEO.
Yep, that's where the name came from.
And I would say for me, I was kind of doing something similar with a small group of women already. And I was seeing that similar need where other women were reaching out to me saying, hey, can I join your group? Can I do this? And can I be a part of it? And so, like Jenny said, when we started out with creating our own businesses, takes a lot of time and it's a lot to figure out, especially if you've never done it before, which that would be me. Jenny's like a pro in that arena and I was not. So I needed someone to hold my hand and make it simple for me. So I think once I started seeing more and more women asking to join the group, they needed their hand to be held. We were willing to hold a hand. And so it just all came together and created Simplified CEO.
That's fantastic. Well, as you think about it, and as we think about the realm of leadership, tell me, what kind of stumbling blocks did you run into from an internal game? Let's talk about internal for a minute. And Allie, why don't you start with that one?
No. I was hoping you would make Jenny start that one. Okay, so I actually like this question because I think a lot of women deal with this. Like the three main things for women especially, that's our main bread and butter are the women, really. And we always want to be heard and feel and be seen, right? We always want to feel safe and we want to feel like we belong somewhere. That's just natural in all of us. And I think there was a certain point that I realized I was also giving a lot of these things to other women as a leader, but not getting them back for myself. And so that's why partnering with somebody like Jenny, who is that equal to me, who does fill in those gaps that I don't have, it's been a game changer. And that's been my internal battle with being a leader is it's not always fun when you are the leader and you're at the top. It's lonely at the top is that quote, right? And so to be able to feel like I belong in this group of women, to be able to have Jenny by me to help me feel safe and bounce ideas off of and be heard, that's been a game changer for me. And so I feel like I'm at this place right now where I have that internal peace because I have my group, I've got my partner, and we're just rocking. So, yep.
I would agree. And I'd also throw in for me, and Debbie, you know this, you and I have history together, but it's that fear of failure. And we talk about it all the time, but you see this need, you want to fill this need, and you want to be that support for these other women in the online entrepreneurship space. But what if we launch and what if we fail, right? Like, at least we're going down together. And so that's what's good with the partnership too. But you always have that internal struggle of that fear of failure. And that goes in every aspect of your life, you know, whether it's your marriage, you know, raising kids, starting a health and fitness journey, whatever it is, it's that battle inside of that fear of failure. And that's where I'm sure we're getting to this, but honestly, and I love that we can talk about our faith on this podcast. So thank you for that. But that's where, you know, it comes down to and boils down to letting that go and giving that to God and just trusting, you know, as long as you are doing it with the right motives, you will get far.
Yeah. And Jenny, you talk about motives. And then I think about how even when, I don't know about you, but I know when I've trusted God or spirit, whatever people want to call it, but for us, it's God. And like when I think about when I've trusted God to go down that path, I still get into that squirrely, you know, K-screw radio going on in my head where I start to worry about those things and that failure. So do you and Allie have any like practical application ideas of what you did to overcome some of that fear? Because I know as you face it too, it becomes less.
Yep. Allie?
Yeah. I'll let either one of you go with that.
I can take this one. There's actually something that we tell our people all the time is you just have to get started. You just have to start, even if it's not perfect, even if you're not ready, you just have to start, stop putting it off and dive in. Jenny and I are actually doing this 40-day thing right now where we're diving into some pretty cool things. And one of the things yesterday that I heard loud and clear was stop being afraid. And even if you're scared of it, God has you. He has you. He has a plan for you. And so if you just start and you go for it, you're going to fail along the way. Again, that's that whole, we're afraid of the failure, but we're learning from the failure. It's failing forward. So we might fail at something, but we're going to take a lesson away from it and apply it to our next thing. And we're going to just keep failing forward and all at the same time be able to trust that God has our backs and that we are living his plan. So.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, go for it, Meredith. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm going to jump in here with a question too, because I think that I'd love to know from the clients that you're working with Simplified CEO, what are the other things that are coming up? Right, as far as what's holding these entrepreneurs or these would-be entrepreneurs back. Clearly fear of failure, but there's got to be more.
Oh yeah, it's having a to-do list like 10,000 miles long. And it's funny because last night I was saying that, talking to my husband and my kids were there, and I'm like, oh, I have this mile-long to-do list. But I'm like, yesterday was a good day. I'm like, I got things checked off. And my oldest, who is... She tests me. She's almost 13, but she was like, it's not a mile long. Like, she's so literal. Mm-hmm. And like, I stood back and I'm like, well, you're right. So if I'm telling myself like it's a mile long, like it's never ending, I'm going to believe that. But it's being paralyzed by so much to do, not knowing what to focus on. It's being paralyzed by not knowing how to do things. So this month in Simplified CEO, we're talking all about email marketing. You know, people don't know how to do that. They know they need to do that for their business, but they don't know how to. So that's one of those pain points that we are solving for our clients, is teaching them those things. So having a safe place where they can learn.
I'm totally one of those people that does not know how to do email marketing. And that's why Jenny and I are good together, because she then teaches me, because I'm raising my hand over here like, I don't know how to do it. And to Jenny's point, and a lot of our clients feel this way, it's like if you don't know how to do something, it does paralyze you, because then it takes so much time to learn how to do it. And that's just time that you feel like you don't have. So then you end up putting off the things that are actually going to push your business forward. And so that's what I see over and over, are the people that they don't know what they don't know. And it's taking time to figure out what they don't know.
Unconsciously incompetent is what I call that, where you're unconscious of what you don't know. And I don't know about you guys, and Meredith, you might feel the same way, but even last night as I pulled my Instapot out that I got for Christmas because I've been afraid of it, I'm like, I don't want to read the manual. I just want somebody to show me how to do it. So it sounds like you're using that technique. You know, you're showing people, you're taking the time in the setup and the system that you have to show people how to do these things versus them having to do it alone.
Yep.
So talk to us a little bit about, you know, Meredith was saying there's got to be more to it. Tell us a little bit more too about as women are connecting in business, what you're seeing happen?
I think the biggest thing is this sisterhood. Like, honestly, like we used to call our mastermind. So through Simplified CEO, we have courses on our websites for people to do self-paced. You know, maybe they don't want to work with us. They just want to do the course. So they have that option. We also have what's called a mastermind community. And we actually just changed that to sisterhood, Simplified CEO sisterhood, because that's what was happening. These ladies in this group, in this community, are conversing, they're teaching each other, and it's not just us. I mean, it's a true community. And so it's a sense of sisterhood, because when you are an entrepreneur, and Debbie, I know that you know this, like it gets lonely. Like it is lonely at the top. And so, I mean, for us, we partnered and we have each other, but a lot of these entrepreneurs don't have a partner. It is just them. So they may be in the same industry as someone else. They may be in a completely different industry, but I mean, systems are systems and they can work across those different industries. So they are just joining forces as a sisterhood, and it feels like a safe place for them. So that's the biggest thing that I've seen, to where they aren't scared to ask questions. They, you know, so they are asking all the questions and everyone is pitching in and helping. So that's something I have seen the past couple months.
That's awesome. And when it comes to yourselves, I mean, this is a pretty new business that you've started. You were sharing with us that before we got on the recorded call that it's just really been a few months and you're really seeing just so much success. So that's requiring something different from each of you as well when it comes to leadership. So what has surprised you since the launch of Simplified CEO in your own leadership journey?
I think for me, it's feeling responsible, like very responsible. You know, we try to be really good leaders and we're trying to teach them everything. And something that always comes back on me that Jenny's going to be like, oh yeah, I hear you ask this all the time. It's like, what else can we give them? What else can we do for them? How else can we make sure that they succeed? And I think we take a lot of their success on us. Like we want to see them succeed so much, and we will take personal offense to it if they don't. And so it is placing more burden on us in the sense that I want to see these ladies just take off in their business. And if they don't, Jenny and I kind of look at each other like, where did we go wrong? What did we do? Like it's a personal attack on us if they didn't do well. So I think that's always our thing, where we're like, okay, we have to make sure they're successful and we have to make sure they're happy and that they're feeling heard and they have a safe place, and what more can we do? And I think for me, it's just that extra burden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. And I'd also say for me, like it's that sense of relationship is pushing me in different ways too with these clients of ours. So I am a processor. I am a doer. I will sit down. I will bust out the email marketing strategy. I will build the course. I will do it all in the comforts of my own home, in bed if I want to, on my laptop, right? Like it's me. I'm a true introvert at heart. And so I think just those relationships with our clients, that's just stretching me in ways, and I love it. But I would say that's pushing me in my leadership, just how to lead on with relationships as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. One of the things that I notice about both of you, and it's interesting, Meredith, we've co-hosted long enough now, I was about to ask the same question that you did. And one of the things that I notice as a leader, and I see it in both of you, is having that self-awareness and understanding and knowing kind of where your shadow spots are and where those strengths are, and playing to the strengths, but also being aware of those shadow spots so that you can, you know, it's not that you want to focus on them, because that's kind of the mindset thing too, but that you can continue to elevate those and uplift them. So nicely done. So Meredith, did you have any other follow-up questions that you wanted to ask?
Well, I think too, it's interesting to ask, what do you feel and see and predict that you are going to need to do in order to continue? I'm reading Debbie's mind again, I think maybe, but that you're going to need to continue in your own leadership development in order to continue to serve this population of women the way that you want to, right? You've got to have some thoughts around who you see yourself becoming as a leader?
I would say yes. And for me, it is that relationship. It's getting out of my comfort zone and being able to have the confidence to stand up in front of a group of people. Long term, we have big visions, like big goals for this company and serving this group of women and reaching all across the country and serving more and more. And so for me, it's just stepping out of my comfort zone and getting that confidence and trusting in myself and trusting in the knowledge that I have. So continuing to build that knowledge, like never not be a student. You know, you always need to be a student of something. So, I mean, we're continuing to learn all the ins and outs of entrepreneurship, all the systems, everything that makes a business successful. And yeah, for me, it's just kind of stepping out of my comfort zone.
And for me, we talked about the fear of failure, but I think there's also a fear of success in both Jenny and I, because right now we're very comfortable with where we are. We have a tight-knit community that we do have good relationships with, and we like where our family life is at right now. And we like to be able to do things out of the comfort of our own home, but we do have these big goals. And so we both have this fear of success to, okay, so what does it look like when our community grows and we can't have that really tight knit community anymore, and we can't personally know every single person in our community? And what does it look like when we're traveling to do speaking engagements and we're leaving our family behind? And so I think we do kind of foresee in the future that some of those things are going to come up for us, and that's going to test our leadership in big ways, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're up for the challenge, personally.
I would agree. I'm anxious in a good way to see where all of this goes and how this grows. And yeah, it's just neat to see the two of you. And I'm a firm believer in collaboration and how the yin and the yang can kind of work together, and the strengths and each other's strengths can really maximize that. So I do have one kind of final question, and that would be, as you guys look at your journey and where you're at today, if you had to say, this is the biggest lesson that I've learned as a leader, what would you say that would be?
Oh man,
that's deep.
It is deep.
Okay, I'll start. I would say, and I touched on this at the beginning, is as a leader, your motives have to be clean. Mm-hmm. You have to do things for the right reason. And I think that has been the biggest lesson that I've learned over the past 12 to 18 months, just in my entrepreneurship journey. That's a long word. But that's the biggest thing that I've learned, is that there are people out there that maybe do not have the right motives, and they come across as having the right motives, but they don't. Deep inside, they don't. And that, I think, is the biggest thing, is knowing and following your faith and doing what God has called you to do and doing it for Him. That should be the reason, in my opinion. So motives, I think.
I like that. That's a good one. Can I take that one too?
Yes, you can.
No, I like that one. And again, for me, and I keep saying this, but Jenny knows my heart in this, but I feel like I have this leadership quality that wants to be like the mama bear of everyone. And I just want to keep people safe. And I want them to feel like they belong and like they have somewhere that they can go and ask the hard questions, ask the unpopular questions, and feel supported. And so that's definitely my biggest takeaway in leadership, is that you have to build a community that is supporting each other. And then once you have that, it's game over, in my opinion.
That's awesome. Well, ladies, thank you both so much for joining us today. And Debbie, if one of our listeners wanted to learn a little bit more about the work that you do and about Three Vines Consulting, where would they go to do that?
Yeah, thank you, Meredith. I would recommend going out to my website. That's www.3vinvictorconsulting.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram, as well as I know you can find Jenny and Allie there as well. So thank you again for joining us today, you guys, and everybody have a safe week as we're looking at tons of snow here in North Idaho. So everybody have a great day.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And for this episode of Faith Infused Leadership, I am your co-host, Mire with Debbie Heiser, and our guests saying have a wonderful day, and we'll see you the next time.